he's been making movies for 40 years.
And he's still so relevant.
He's still so great.
He's given his biggest hit.
Yeah.
Proud Indian within me who's like, Priyanka, yeah, do it, you know. I was actually missing her when she wasn't there in the scenes.
Yeah.
She's great.
She's fantastic.
Honestly, Ponniyin Selvan to Aishwarya Rai was the soul of it. I was
She's
so
stunning.
mesmerized by her presence and eventually it all being a lie.
Hey everyone, you're watching The Late Take and I'm Anupama Chopra.
I'm Anmol Jamwal.
And we're here to talk about the movies, and I had such a happy weekend because of Ponniyin Selvan too. I hope you all agree. Anmol, I was just like beaming.
I was. And it was so beautiful.
It was.
And it was such a come up for me from part one. So why don't you start first?
So I made the decision, I'm not watching the Hindi dub.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I saw the Hindi dub of the first one, I liked it. I didn't love it. I just was not sure about even how I felt because the sound of it was just felt inauthentic. So then I watched it, of course, as soon as it came on Amazon, I watched the Tamil with English subtitles and I really enjoyed it. So I was like, this time, it is a cheat.
Yeah.
People are not coming to me for the review of the Tamil film, but I'm just not watching the Hindi dub. I went and I saw the Tamil film with English subtitles and it was gorgeous, not just to look at, but in its emotions, in its mastery of how he stages key sequences. And there are still things I don't fully get, which I'm like, okay, but why did the Periya and the Chinna suddenly, did they switch sides or what exactly happened there? But I feel like it's such a masterly kind of, and so satisfying. And all of them were so good.
My biggest takeaway from it was, in this midst of pan-Indian films and a lot of people expecting a certain type of film, I feel like a lot of sections outside of Tamil Nadu were of the anticipation that this is going to be a full-fledged war period epic. And it cemented the belief, part two especially, that Mani Ratnam excels in the interpersonal relationships and the emotions, and Ponniyin Selvan was never meant to be mimicking something else that was already there. Like you've got the Bahubalis or the RRRs or what a KGF does.
That's not his tonality at all.
At all. And I felt like where I was slightly not fully invested in part one, probably because so much of time was spent on the world building and Vandya Tevan's travels, I realized one, it was all of Tamil Nadu's childhood coming true. So that itself was such an experience for them. But I think for everyone beyond Tamil Nadu, part two especially hit home so much for me because of those relationships. And I think it's such an ideal casting. The entire cast is, and for me, the culmination of just Vikram and Aishwarya Rai and that scene together, or even Kundavai with Vandya Tevan, it's done so well. And you're so right with Ravi Varman's cinematography and how Mani Ratnam just stages those sequences. I was so interested.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Anmol, that scene, of course, the two sort of romantic, I mean, with Nandini and Aditya, it's not exactly romantic. It's a tragic romance, but even the scene with the three siblings, that scene where Aditya and Arubori and Kundavai are just sitting together and this camera is so close up and you feel like you're there with them and you feel it's the only time you see them together.
For me, it almost was reminiscent of when Jon Snow had reunited with Sansa in Game of Thrones. This sense of ease finally of the siblings reuniting, it was so beautifully done.
It is.
And what I realized was that so much of A.R. Rahman's music in part one was the celebration of Vandya Tevan's travels. And a lot of part two is just his score. And it's
staggering.
And for me, ma'am, honestly, Ponniyin Selvan to Aishwarya Rai was the soul of it. I was
She's
so
stunning.
mesmerized by her presence, her anger, and eventually it all being a lie. and it being so heartbreaking where the person that she utilized for all the scheming, all the planning was the only one who really felt something for her or was pure. I thought she was
She was
exceptional.
wonderful, wonderful.
Um,
And you know, Anmol, we haven't seen her do this in Hindi cinema in years.
Yes, yeah.
In years. And you get a sense of, you see flashes of what she can do when the director knows. And it's not that the beauty is not a part of it. The beauty is a critical plot point.
You know what was so funny to me? It's so funny, but it's almost like a natural reaction of all the characters. When they're with her, they're willing to sell their land. They're
That's
willing
right.
to give up everything just by looking at her.
All the men, they just lose it.
There's a point where it's Aditya Karikalan's friend who's talking to her, and I could just see him just getting lost in those eyes. And there's a point where she does will you really do it? It's almost as if she's just playing with these guys and she knows the power she holds.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so beautifully done.
And yet, Anmol, what is amazing is that she doesn't become a villainess.
Oh yes.
You know, there is a humanity that money keeps. Money, I'm saying like he's my best friend. Money, sir.
Yeah.
Money, sir, keeps. And he's just, I think it's, in fact, where I found myself getting a little fatigued was the battle sequences.
Oh yes.
You know, because I felt like, okay, but let's get to the people. You know, let's talk about the people. What has happened to them? The characters are so interesting. And I just felt like his score, ARR's score, was like literally underlining every scene and almost co-creating.
Co-creating. Ma'am, you know, that operatic voice whenever Nandini's angst is to be communicated, it fits so perfectly. It was never overbearing to the dialogues. And I do still feel like the action was probably the weakest across both films. What I did feel, ma'am, which was the most contentious part with people who've read the book, is that the end with making Madhurantakan the king, it's almost telling people why they wanted a series out of Ponniyin Selvan versus the two-part movie, because the text itself is so dense. They didn't want to get into the subplot, if you know about it.
I don't.
Oh, which is?
I have not read the books and I didn't want to know.
So the plot point being, now that you've seen the film, is that Mandakini and Madhurantakan's mother both were pregnant at the same time.
And they switched babies.
So Madhurantakan's mother had a stillborn, and Mandakini had twins. Okay, they switched babies. So Mandakini's son is actually Madhurantakan, who was given
So Nandini and Madhurantakan are
siblings.
Yeah.
And she was given the stillborn. Now this Mandakini in Sri Lanka raises this stillborn, and when she visits her 5 years later, he's alive. He's like up and running and everything. So eventually, he becomes the king. Not so.
Which is the flower guy.
Which is the flower guy.
Correct. No, I was told about this and
Yeah.
I went in, but I liked the end.
Okay.
See, I guess this is the thing. Also because the books are so revered that if you know the books and Mani sir has shifted that, then there must be some angst.
purists who are just like,
and
this
like,
isn't
but like,
right.
what the hell just happened?
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But I feel like as narrative, it worked. You know, it wasn't like I was like, what just happened? Why did this reverse? You know, I felt like the speech that he made was very moving, and but for me, genuinely, it's those two relationships that make it, and more than anything, Vikram and Aishwarya Rai.
Oh, that scene
That
is
scene-
so well done.
That scene is something you could just keep watching on a loop. Also to see how a master stages. I mean, Anmol, he's been making movies for 40 years.
And he's still so relevant. And
He's still so great.
he's
still
given his biggest hit.
Yeah.
No, it is a
And
beautiful story.
I really felt, Anmol, I felt like, look at Hindi cinema, right? We've got 1 week of Kisi Ka Bhai Kisi Ki Jaan. Last week we had U-Turn, a completely mangled remake. I don't know if you saw the film.
Yes.
I mean, we can talk about that as well. But and then you have this. And it's not even like it's the same playing field.
You know, I do feel like Ponniyin Selvan was that big event film that everyone was looking forward to. I would still say that, having such a terrible week for Hindi cinema and then having this makes it even worse.
It just shows you the contrast.
Yeah.
Because so was Kisi Ka Bhai, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was also an event film that people were looking forward to.
But we anticipated it, ma'am. Like, come
No,
on.
we
Like, who
did.
were we kidding? We were not going to get anything emotionally compelling from that.
I get it,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, it again underlines for me
Yeah.
that we need to up our game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fully,
Because the
fully.
game that is being played in other parts of this country is way beyond.
It is.
You know?
Especially, I feel like with Tamil Nadu and Kerala,
Yeah.
especially, it's in terms of storytelling, it's another level.
It's another
playing field.
level. I mean, and look at what we're doing, right? So for the past few weeks, we've just got remake after remake. But then look at the remake. U-Turn is a perfectly good film. Why would you change that story?
It brings me back to Hit the First Case again.
Right.
Okay, you change
The Rajkumar Rao film. Yeah.
You change the climax from sisters to lesbian lovers, and you do it in such a half-ass manner.
Yeah.
So you're telling people to be invested in the remake and then not do that also with conviction. It's like with Bhola, when you have the screenplay right in front of you, you want to make it a unique experience but not fully go there.
Did you understand? Because, okay, spoiler alert for everyone who's going to see U-Turn. Here's my question. The explanation was that there was a human being mixing blue liquid into people, right? That was the explanation of why they were then killing themselves.
Yeah.
So what was all of that happened before? You know, the creepiness and her visions of...
See, it's the same formula that I would think about, say, Gaslight. Okay, motive of Vikrant Massey to dress up and torment her is to do what? Is to dress up like a magician so that she gets memories of her father, so that she is presumed to be insane. It's a very long shot. So
यहाँ तो लोगों को भूत दिख रहे थे ना.
So that's
तो भूत कौन थे?
The screen, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't
make sense.
That's what I'm saying. It just didn't make sense. I'm like, are you giving me a non-supernatural explanation when all you've done for the last hour is shown me
Bhoot Pret.
Bhoot Paret?
Yeah, there's a long way to go. It's sad, ma'am, because, then you're just looking at the star-led system to work over here. You're looking for the Jawan, you're looking for the Tiger. So that's all that we have to look forward to.
Yeah, which can't be true.
And tell me, you had really specifically talked about this, about Aishwarya Rai at 50 doing such a role, and you might have a better insight on the same. Weren't they always craving for work, like a Raveena Tandon and Aishwarya Rai, who's now doing a KGF, who does now Ponniyin Selvan? It's not the case of them not wanting to work in these films. Nobody was casting them, right?
Nobody was casting. No, this is the thing. I don't think Hindi cinema knows what to do with women over 30. Or perhaps 40 now, given that a few of our top talents are now 30 and 30 plus. Maybe the cutoff is now 40, but genuinely, all the incredible work that these women are doing is remake or outside of the Hindi film industry.
Yeah.
They're not writing roles for them. They're just not. Which is such a shame, because look at the talent.
Oh, yeah.
And look at what she's done. I just feel like we need to be empowering the writers who can then come up with, because this film is powered so much by what she's done. So it's not that this is everyone's like, oh, it's about women's lib. It's business. It's good business.
Yeah. And you're so right about empowering writers or giving new stories a chance. And now when I look at the lineup of Hindi cinema till 2025, it's the 5-6 directors only. It's the same names you've heard, and it's just the franchise model and installments increasing.
So we'll have to pray that you'll have the dark horse, or what is it?
Hopefully.
The sleeper hits will come up.
Yes.
Speaking of streaming, what did you think of Citadel?
So I love the Russo brothers and what they did with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Me too.
I think they had a bit of an issue with finding their footing or voice post the cinematic universe, because
I didn't mind the Grey Man, did you?
I found it to be really mediocre. For the amount of investment that was done on the
Sure.
action set pieces across countries, I thought the emotional depth of
नहीं वो तो था ही नहीं.
it was paper thin, and to the point of even the cheese not being the zingers
Right.
that I wanted.
Yeah.
So in Citadel, I do think that Priyanka Chopra has an upper hand over Richard Madden with the cheese. I think she's just more used to it. So it almost came naturally to
Right,
her to
right.
pack the punch
She's
and say
doing
a
it with
dialogue.
flair.
Whereas when Madden is with Tucci and saying, "Hey, we're a part of Dumb and Dumber," it just doesn't really land.
Doesn't land, yeah, it doesn't land.
Like he's great in Bodyguard, and I think he is a great dramatic actor. I felt like it was just not communicating to me that he's the campy zinger spy in this case.
Yeah, there's like so much fun to be had here, and genuinely, I think the idea is stellar to have like a mother ship and then to have separate kind of spin-offs in different countries which have their own thing happening. I think that's an amazing idea. It just was rendered in almost too generic a way.
Too generic.
Yeah, and why? Like, I'm not saying make intellectual stuff.
A pervy old man loves red lipstick. Come on, that's like Bond girl dialogue.
Yeah. I just feel like the same thing with a little more, just a little more could have been, because they're both lovely. They're fantastic to look at. They have great chemistry. And, it's no one's coming here for deep emotional experiences.
Yeah.
We're all coming here for a good time.
And if I discount the proud Indian within me who's like, Priyanka, do it, I was actually missing her when she wasn't there in the scenes.
Yeah.
So I think she's great.
She's fantastic. Yeah.
The dialogues probably aren't that much. And even from an action standpoint, I was looking at that entire train sequence. There are far too many jump cuts, and it's not as slick as I would want. And I think it almost does a disservice to the show when they say 300 million, the most expensive show.
Yeah.
Then almost people are looking for it.
It becomes a burden.
And I feel like when that gets chapoed everywhere, it becomes bit of an issue.
I read a very brutal Variety headline, something like this is a corporate strategy looking for a show.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But I think though that
it'll get better.
Hopefully, but the Indian show I feel like is in safe hands.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Raj, DK,
Varun
Dhawan and Sam.
I think it's going to be killer.
Cannot wait.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. So we are in good hands.
Hopefully.
We don't know about the rest of the world.
Yeah. But we'll hope that it gets better.
We will.
Yes,
we will. And on to some comments, Anmol.
Yes. Okay, so this is Kiran Noel Francis. He says, I think this could have been a trilogy, which would give the director more liberty to explore the characters even more in detail, rather than rushing through certain important elements, plots, and scenarios just to sum it up in 2 parts. I think that's what a lot of people who did love the text constantly do speak about, because this could have been the 7-8 season Game of Thrones, but I feel like in streaming we're not there yet of that amount of investment for a show, and I feel like the star system would never allow it as well.
It wouldn't.
You would have to make stars. Like S.S. Rajamouli was asked if he wanted to make Mahabharat, how would he do it? He said, I can't work with stars if I want to do it. I have to make stars over 8 seasons with that show, which is essentially what Game of Thrones did also.
That's right.
So
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a really tough
one. Because you want, the magic of Vikram and Ash, who else could recreate that? But then you'd never get them to do a 10 part series. Who has the time to invest? So it's a big one. I think what he did is masterful.
It is.
And we can always argue it could have been better. Or could have been longer.
Could have been longer, probably. But part 2, I thought, was exceptional.
Stellar, absolutely. I have Matangi Mauli who says, Anu, I think Maniratnam has only truly seen Aishwarya as an actress. He gives her characters with so much scope. Every time from Iruvar to Guru and now Nandini, Vikram and Aishwarya were the soul of PS2. Absolutely agree. This is something that I think is deserves deep analysis. That how does he sort of see her and get these performances out of her that I don't think any other filmmaker has. Sanjay Bansali perhaps has come close, but I feel like what Mani sir has done is and at every stage from the first film till now.
Because if we think about Hindi cinema, it's only Sanjay Leela Bansali and Ashutosh Gowarikar probably in Jodha Akbar.
Yeah.
But tell me, ma'am, is that also a fair criticism that a lot of people have? Is that she was reduced to these loud, sort of like effeminate characters who are just kind of ditzy in Hindi cinema? Was that the case?
The thing is, look, the beauty is what hits you first. So every filmmaker who works with her has to work their way around it. And I feel like Mani Ratnam did that, the late Rituparna Ghosh did that.
With Chokar Bali.
Yeah. I mean, you watch that film, she's so good in it. I think maybe people here have just kind of relied too much on it. So it's I don't think she played ditzy. I mean, in Tal she wasn't ditzy. In so many other films she was
Guzarish, she was so good.
She was so good, yeah. But I feel like it becomes a crutch. That when you have someone who's that good looking, you almost don't need to do anything else. It becomes just something where the writers perhaps don't think of more because what they're looking at is just the beauty. Like a film like Fanney Khan, what was she doing?
Yeah. Whereas you have the Devdases, the Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam.
She was exceptional.
Yeah.
I mean, Devdas, she's just, and the beauty is used to tell the story. Like it is here.
And even I was thinking about Raincoat. Like,
with Ajay Devgan.
Yeah, and she's almost like decrepit in that and kind of.
Yeah. Very lovely. Yeah. So I feel like this, I hope that this is the start of sort of a new innings for her in terms of just roles that are meaty and have something for her to do.
But I feel like these are like one of those director-actor duos, like the Tabu Vishal Bhardwaj duo, which is just, it's the perfect, marriage.
Yeah, it is the perfect marriage. Indeed. Well, we will wait for more perfect marriages.
Yes.
And what do you look forward to? I'm kind of excited about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy sounds great. I am worried about Jawan because its release date is coming soon and nothing's come out. So I'm just wondering like how it's going to turn out.
In Shah Rukh we trust, Anmol.
Yes. No. This is a collaboration. I'm more excited than Pathan for this one. Because of Atlee and Anirudh doing the music
and
Nayanthara and
oh my god, lady crazy. Superstar
Vijay Sethupathi and like God knows what all is happening in that film.
Cannot wait.
Yes, cannot
wait. Thank you everyone for watching.